we had $836 million outflow this week. You guys know who that's from, right? From Grayscale. And that's because they keep on selling. They've been selling like crazy. They've been selling for the past 2 months, basically. Now they have sold over $12 billion worth of Bitcoin. Grayscale used to hold the largest amount of Bitcoin of any entity outside Satoshi. Now their supply is dwindling, right? And this week they sold close to $1 billion, and of course they're still today. So it could add up to $1 billion outflow, which is absolutely insane if you think about it, right? And we've been talking about this for quite some time. And people are speculating that what's happening now is more related to the bankruptcies of DCG and Genesis. Maybe early on, a lot of the outflows were simply people that want to cash out. But now, I mean, we're seeing massive amount of outflows every single day, right? And we know that the parent company DCG is in trouble, needs at least $3 billion. And then Genesis, who went bankrupt, needed $1.6 billion. So it could be related to that, what we're seeing right now. So people are speculating that maybe this will be over soon because those will be replenished, right? But, you know, that's why I used Larry Fink's picture on the thumbnail, because while this is happening, you know, guess who's buying? Even though there are other ETFs, and they've been trying to do their best, most of them can't compare to BlackRock, right? BlackRock had a pretty good day, inflow of 233 million. Let's see what happens today. But they had some absolutely monster buys this past 2 months, right? While Grayscale is selling. So we are seeing the greatest wealth transfer in Bitcoin's history. From an entity that had 650,000 Bitcoin to now 300 something thousand Bitcoin. And if they're still selling at this pace, pretty soon they're going to lose that $300 billion worth of Bitcoin. Or no, is it billion? No. 300,000 Bitcoin will be flowing into BlackRock, right? That's the reality situation. It's if you think about it, it's just a really bad all-around scenario, right? Larry Fink and BlackRock, even though short-term we talked about how, yeah, they're buying everything up, it's driving prices up, but like think about how bad that is long-term when BlackRock controls the fund that has 650,000 Bitcoin or 1 million Bitcoin or eventually 5 million Bitcoin or something like that. It would be outrageous for one company to hold so much. And we know what BlackRock is all about. But, you know, there's someone new in town called Mr. 100 who has accumulated $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin since November. So within a short amount of time, okay, he purchased 900 Bitcoins yesterday, which means he purchased basically the entire amount that was released yesterday. There's only 900 being released per day right now. In about a month, less than a month, when we have a halving event, it'll be 450 per day. But basically, this guy is buying as much as being released per day. Okay, so think about it. This is just one single individual. How many other individuals are there like this? And this is not even counting the institutions that are buying the ETFs too. So we're seeing massive, massive amount of wealth being transferred from retail to large whales and institutions. Here's another example of that. Short-term holders and loss to exchanges. Okay, you may notice that, yeah, we haven't seen this kind of spike. I mean, going all the way back to 2021. Even when Bitcoin was selling off from its last top, okay, you see a lot of those spikes. We have never, ever, ever seen transfers like this, where short-term holders are sending their Bitcoin to exchanges, and not only that, selling them at a loss, not even for a profit. This is what you call lettuce hands. People that have come in recently and they're selling like crazy because they don't quite understand. Maybe this is their first cycle. Maybe they just came in a month ago when Bitcoin hit 73,000. I don't know, or above. I mean, 73,000 was just 2 weeks ago. It wasn't even a month ago. But there's a massive amount of exodus from retail investors, and what they're doing is selling to Mr. 100s and to the institutions. It's just horrible to think about. It's really horrible to think about. Like, this is just now. This is just like 2 months after ETF introduction. What is it going to be like at the end of this cycle? And what is it going to be like during the next cycle? You know, think about it. During the next cycle, when ETFs control, let's say, knock on wood, hopefully this doesn't happen, 15-20% of the supply, what is going to happen then, right? Then is Bitcoin really decentralized then when such little entities hold so much? And this includes Michael Saylor too, and MicroStrategy. We all love MicroStrategy. We all think Michael Saylor is Bitcoin Jesus, but let's not forget, he himself holds over 200,000 Bitcoin already. He owns more than 1% of the total supply, right? So these guys are buying and buying and buying, which is fine. But the problem is the lettuce hands, the retail investors are selling to them. Basically, in the future, you're going to have very, very, very little actual people that hold Bitcoin if they keep selling to the big boys. And what's more unfortunate is that these lettuce hands, not diamond hand, lettuce hands, the retail that sell will kick themselves because they don't realize what's coming up. And that is the parabolic bull cycle, right? The parabolic bull stage, I should say. That's when things get really crazy. And unfortunately, when they sell, they're going to have to buy back at a higher price and end up with less Bitcoin, right? No one wants that. No one wants to see that. That would be absolutely horrible. Anyway, so just want to start out with that. Okay, there's just an enormous amount of wealth transfer happening right now. And it shouldn't be happening right now. I can understand when we were back in 30 or 40K, I can understand how maybe a lot of people couldn't take it and decide to sell. But certainly not above 60,000. Certainly not when we're just weeks away from all-time high, right? This would be a horrible time to sell at a loss. Keep in mind, what I showed you was people selling at a loss, not just selling for profit, selling at a loss, right? This would be the absolute worst time to be doing so. Yeah, that's really it. I've shown so many metrics, fundamentals. We're getting rate cuts coming up. You know, that was just announced. There's so many. Halving event in less than a month. We got so many catalysts right around the corner. You know, yeah, seriously, like halving event is less than a month away. I think people have forgotten about that. That is the most bullish catalyst that we have every single cycle. Don't fall for the FUD. Don't fall for the FUD, guys. I know you guys are regulars. You guys have been watching me for a long time. Most of you guys don't fall for it, but there will always be people that fall for it, and that's going to suck.